Hi, my name is Venus and I'm going to talk to you about doing a distance healing. This video is mainly for people who are doing a distance healing and maybe they've recently been attuned to Reiki and they've never done it before, or maybe they got their attunements online, or maybe you're someone who's done energy work and you just want to see how you can transfer that and do distance healings. If you're a client, this will just basically give you an overview of what it's like, what the processes a distance healer would use to do your healing. So there are 4 basic ways to do a distance healing. The key element in any of these is basically just making a connection with the client. You want to feel like you have an energetic link with that person, or if it's an animal, with that pet, and so you want to be connected. So the first way that you can do a distance healing is to have an actual doll. So you would have a teddy bear or a Barbie doll or another kind of doll, or in the case of a pet, maybe a stuffed animal, and you would send healing to that just as you would if the client was in person. So if you study Reiki, you would put your hands in the different hand positions. So you might put your hands on the head or the feet and send Reiki just as if the client were there. The second way to do a healing would be to get an actual photograph from your client. So you'd have a picture of the person or the animal that you're working on, and that's really helpful just in the sense that you get that specific person's energy by working with the photograph. And you would just send healing to the photograph for the length of your session. The third way is to do a visualization process, and it could be something as simple as sending healing to, imagining the body in your mind and sending healing to that. It could be something more elaborate. You might have a detailed guided meditation that you do. You may go into, a sacred space, or, a forest, or, do something more detailed where you have the client with you in a sacred space and you send healing to that client. You might even have angels or spirit guides or ascended masters come and assist you with the healing. It's really up to you and whatever makes you feel comfortable. Some people like to call on angels or guides using any of these processes, but that's totally up to you and what your beliefs are and what you're comfortable with. And the last way to do a healing is basically the simplest way, and that is to repeat the name of the client a few times, or if you've met them in person, just see them in your mind and just send the healing with no particular focus or intent. You just send the healing and intend that it go to that person. In some ways it's useful for just sort of getting your mind out of the way. You just send the healing and you let it go wherever it needs to go. I like to have a lot more personal involvement when I do a healing with the client, so I tend to use a visualization, and I see a lot of different things during that process. I make a lot of notes, and sometimes I make notes during the healing, sometimes I make the notes after the healing is done, and then I email the client and I talk with them about it. Or in some cases, I may be working with the client over the phone and I call them and discuss what happened during the healing. And so that's pretty much the basics. There are different ways to do it within each of those 4 ways, but that's essentially how a distance healing is done. And the client may or may not feel anything. You can do the session at the same time, meaning like you can do it in real time where the client may be resting or listening to music or meditating while you're doing the healing, or you can do the healing and just kind of let it be received by the client at whatever time you do it, or you can instruct the client that you're going to be doing it, and when the process is done, you'll send them an email and then they can meditate and sort of call in the energy when it feels right for them, when they have time to kind of sit quietly and focus on the energy. Any of those works, basically. I tend to send healings for the length of time that I'm guided to. So I just start sending the healing, and when I feel a distinct urge to stop, I do. So the length of time can vary slightly, unless I've specifically, said to a client, this is a 20-minute session, or this is a 40-minute session, or whatever it may be. But most of the time I send healing and I just let it go for as long as it needs to go, and when it's done I stop. So that's just the basics of sending a distance healing. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks.